A very good evening to our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Toivo Njabela, your host for the day. Tonight on the platform, we are joined by Clement Mafwila. He is the Chief Regional Officer for the Khomas region, and he is here to help us reflect on complaints that have been raised by residents, particularly in Katutura and other parts of the region, about the ongoing delimitation and demarcation exercise, in which they complained that they were not properly consulted and that a lot of stuff is being taken away from them as a result of that ongoing exercise. Clement, thank you very much for making time, and thank you actually for coming to the platform just a day after we hosted a gentleman, Sean Gariseb, who said that they were not consulted, they were not properly consulted. There was a press conference earlier this week where even the Common Traditional Authority also complained that things are not being done properly. What is your initial reaction to what has been said so far in that regard?
Thank you very much, Toivo, for that question. Well, our reaction, we adopted a strategy of wait and see.
Yeah.
After the meeting, and then we started seeing some reaction, as you put it, from the media, elsewhere they made their expression. Not only that, those expressions were made during the conference.
Yeah.
And then we saw some...
What conference was that?
Not the conference, the consultation.
Okay, so so there was a consultative meeting.
One of the boundary.
Okay.
The limitation, that consultation.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yes. And then we also knew before that there were some clips that were circulating, especially about now the maps.
Yes.
Yes. So we did not react that time, because we believe that now they must first wait and see what we are going to present, and then we can be able to come in. And then after that, what we did were more giving press release, in terms of the media, and we're focusing more on a positive note.
Yeah.
Where we said we mentioned that now the consultation has been postponed, and equally also when we got the new date, the 27th of June, we communicated, and our emphasis was more to say we encourage all key stakeholders and the public to attend consultative meeting in the constituency.
Yeah. That
is the only way they can make their voice to be heard in terms of the subject matter. Yes.
So very good. So it is said that at that consultation meeting that the governor, this document here by Honorable Laura MacLeod Kashirwa, the governor of Khomas, titled Proposed Boundaries, Delimitation and Demarcations of the Khomas constituencies boundaries, as if to say that council, the regional council, went there already with its own proposals that this region must be extended to this one, the new boundaries must come here. Where did council draw that mandate? Or is it out of certain consultations, or that was just out of council's own initiative?
Yes, thank you very much. In fact, that is the board of contention.
Yeah.
And then we need to clarify that. Perhaps, Jamila, allow me to start that as soon as we received that notification that there will be an exercise of that nature, what we did, because we understand what consultation is all about, we send out invites, both the media and physically, some certain letter that we send, where we called upon the public, because it was requested of us that we will make input through writing reports or even oral. And then now we said for the public, the constituency councillors have to go down and consult.
Yeah.
And then also we went out of our way to send invite to certain key stakeholders. For example, we send an invite to the city of Windhoek, and the traditional authority. Because when you deal with intergovernmental relationship, jurisdiction becomes a key element.
Yes.
Yes. So with that in mind, we should mention that the councillors went, consulted, and we made sure that we need to prove that we have consulted. There were minutes that were written, and also the attendance register. That was now the letter that the governor circulated, sent to them. Please do this so that we must prove that we have consulted. That happened. And then when that one happened, is when now we came just to consolidate, because we said, your submission in writing, please, address it to the governor, so that we can just put something together and then present as a regional government, because the center of it is self-delivery. This limitation is not opening from it's not operating from nowhere. It's the center of it is self-delivery to our people. And then when we received this documentation, which I can mention to you all these documents from different constituencies.
Yes.
They submitted, and also with the evidence they did. It's on that basis then we consolidated it. Then consolidating all this input from the community, then we went out to say perhaps these proposals which are coming from the community for illustration purposes, and you'll find even our report, that's why we said annexure. We said that perhaps this proposal might take this, because when it comes to the maps, you must make sure that there are guidelines. You cannot just put a line the way it was alluded here. We just put that now, this is how it's going to look like, but then it was not final because it was work in progress in this regard, just to give an idea. So as we just touch those maps, just to make sure that at least when they're discussing, they can see that having an idea. A map is more to give you a direction. Yeah, not that it was a permanent map. That's what we did. When it came in there, we consolidated it, and then we said that we are going to present it. In fact, then who must present it? Then definitely is the governor, because it's a region, and he's our head. Then when we did that, is when now we said, okay, fine. We reached the stage of now trying to present in a real sense, from our own perspective. We did that report to say we have a mandate to improve the standard of living. That means self-delivery is the main reason why we exist. So we are looking from that. As you know, that we are faced with influx of people, and the number has gone up. As you know, it's 500,000 in Khomas. All these want services. So we also taking from that angle to say, how do we have that input from them, from the community, but also we know the challenges from our side in terms of self-delivery. For example, good enough, like Samora Bashir came out to say, if we have 94,000 plus, 94,600 people coming out from the preliminary census of 2023, definitely what challenges do we have in terms of service provision, education, health, you can name them. And then we said, no, it was a good idea. So that's why we're saying plus minus will be here. And then we try to present. I should mention that then we agreed, the governor presented, we showed them the message. But I should hasten to say, on our request to say, key stakeholders should also have a draft reports. By the time we went now for presentation, there was only our report. Then from this is only from the councillors, after they consulted the public, and then from the key stakeholders that I would allude here. I mentioned it was quoted in the press, from the city, also from the traditional authority, as I mentioned about intergovernmental relations. We're in the same space. So we did not get a report. Our understanding that we thought perhaps, since we said it can both be oral or maybe a report, it might be presented on that one. Orally. It only happened, orally. It only happened that now the report that was discussed is only for Khomas Regional Council, based on the input from there. We hope that report from others will still come. So we would have loved also to have an opportunity to see what others they included in their report. To maybe we could have compared notes. But as it is now, it's only one report. But others did not produce a report.
I see.
Yes, they did not report because it was made clear, put it in writing. Because this is a democratic, country. You are free to express yourself, and we expected that, but did not come up. The input we put in is what we consulted from the community, but the key stakeholder did not put something in writing. We hope next time they will do that.
Yeah. And next time is when?
Next time is the 27th of November. No, not November. Of June.
Next week.
Next week.
Thursday.
Thursday, then we'll have the second round, the opportunity that we're given.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go for a quick break and then return with Clement Mafwila.
Voting now open. The Best of 061 Express Followers' Choice Awards. By voting, you stand a chance to win your share of 50,000 Namibian dollars in cash. From the 4th to the 23rd of June 2024. Do you know the best of the best in Windhoek? It's time to recognize them. Living in Windhoek, DIY home improvement. Glam it up, eating out, food, drinks, and be merry. Services, automotive, shopping, babies and kids, and travel and leisure. To vote, save the number 085-785-6231 and WhatsApp. Hashtag 061 Express or scan the QR code.
The evening review continues with Clement Mafwila, CRO, the Chief Regional Officer of Khomas Region. Now, Mr. Mafwila, one of the issues that are being raised is the supposed insensitivity around the common leadership. The traditional authority of the Damara people who reside in this area. During these consultations, is there any way that you would know, that your office would know, whether when councillors went to their communities to consult, whether a leader of that stature was consulted at all, or she was skipped for some reason?
Yes. If you look on the issue when I alluded in terms of the intergovernmental relations, yes, with the key stakeholder, the city and the traditional authority. Our departure point was, we wrote specifically to the traditional authority, indicating of saying they can come up with a report to influence the outcome of the delimitation or make an oral presentation. This was sent to the city of Windhoek. And then if you look in terms of the constituencies, are more Windhoek, based within the local authority. So, and then if you look on the structures, the way now we are dealing with, then we have got structures like this constituent development, committees, leaders, the public. When we have got public meetings, so we have all key stakeholders in that one. Take for example, when it comes to CDC, you will find that the traditional authority are included, NGOs are included, everybody. So as our understanding, when this, the proof that I have here, when they went, it was believed that they have consulted everybody as a public community to hear their views. And then the evidence is here is only that perhaps it was not sufficient. But when it comes now to the issue of the boundaries, which is now the issue here, you look at it that our key stakeholder, like for the city, when they were asked why are they not there, I was happy they responded to say, when it comes to the boundaries for now, they believe that have got no really an impact. Theirs was more of a boundary that was stretched, but that was now through the ministry. And then you look now in terms of also when it comes to the traditional authority, they will have their own jurisdiction, perhaps the question of jurisdiction. But when it comes to our jurisdiction, the constituency that we are talking about, whether expanding or not, whether we needed to what extent can we consult, you would find that now the shifting of these boundaries will not have an impact. Yesterday you asked the political boundaries, do they have any impact on the issue of traditional authority? Because we have got specific acts that regulate and all this. So if you look on that, have got no really an impact on the jurisdiction. Why? Example is elsewhere, not only in Khomas, you would find that the jurisdiction of one traditional authority, it cuts across 3-4 constituencies. So have got no impact. But in our case, we are looking of safe delivery, the program that government should deliver. But really will not have an impact in terms of that. But we need to collaborate. But we are saving the same people.
Well, what do you say, Mr. Mafwila, to the argument that the boundaries might, I suppose, maybe the question might be applies more to the city of Windhoek, but I need your take. When people say, look, the guest, Gariseb, yesterday cited Groot Ob, for example, which he said used to be a sort of, I suppose, traditional community, but it has now been brought within the boundaries of the city of Windhoek, and people are now obliged to pay rates and taxes as all of us who live in Windhoek. And some of these adjustments that are being proposed, there's fear that more communal communities within Khomas might be brought into the boundaries of the city and then be obliged to pay.
Yes, you are putting it very well to say that you just want to hear my take on that. If you look at it now, the issue of the boundary of the city of Windhoek, yes, will have an impact in terms of the surrounding, because there are bylaws that need to be followed. But when it comes to our boundaries, you would find that it will not have an impact in terms of now the traditional authority. And then also you take note that when it comes to Khomas, we are predominantly, commercial. There are commercial farms, and then resettlement farms, as it stands for now. You see. Then as to the fear, I don't see that there should be any fear, because if you talk about anything that's wherever we are, whether it's a game park, whether historical sites and all those issues, everywhere they're appearing in constituencies, but they're managed separately. Then they will not have really an impact, I can mention to you. And I should also quickly mention that when we're looking at the issue, maybe the fear on the rural, as we're looking at it from the question of safe delivery. Take, for example, if you look on our map for Khomas, you would find that the 9 constituencies, they are just, city-centered like this. But we've got a vast Windhoek rural. And then when it comes to safe delivery, then you expect a person from, mix, who want the services of the councillor, to go to Groot Ob. And this other constituency looks like an island. Then having access there is a challenge. Therefore, this discussion that now, while people were consulted and trying to stretch, was more based on safe delivery, but will not have an impact. Rural will remain rural, because even rural in its current form right now, you find part of Windhoek rural, there's urban areas that are part of Windhoek rural. So it has been there even before the issue of the new boundaries. We had part of rural being also including the boundary of the city. So there will be no impact as far as we are concerned. Yeah.
And on the issue of again, the question that I put to Mr. Gariseb yesterday was about whether there are politics at play, where we say, okay, this area has maybe this particular political party is the dominant one, and if we change boundaries and bring them into this one, maybe a councillor from the ruling party or any other party can then have a better chance of ruling those people. Has that been of any consideration during these consultations? Are we sure that this was strictly professionals run our politics to it?
Yes, I can say that in confidence. If you look on the minute that we have here, the suggestion whether now to shift the one constituency to another and adjustment was more based on self-delivery. How better can we save? Yeah, you take for example in some constituencies, let me put it this way. Take for example Samora Machel, with 94,000 people coming. The challenge could have been when it comes to infrastructure, schools, hospitals, police station, all those, with the number of people that we saved. Then you would find that it was agreed to say it's difficult. Let's now divide. Why? You will find that like now every year it's reported that there are certain kids at that side of Sabarabasha that could not access, who could not go to school because they are very far. Some are very young, especially grade 1. We're relying on Alpha Palme. As we are talking now, the councillor for Samara Machel have to make an initiative. We made a submission to the city to ask for land at the far end there, next to the game park there, where now we requested for an area for the police station, the clinic, and the primary and secondary, to ensure that the people must have access. Therefore, you would find that thinking of, say, let's demarcate it, is coming from them, and one council cannot handle. So, and then there was another issue of saying perhaps partly, if maybe John Pandeni can maybe give something. Those were discussions among themselves. The report was brought to us based on those evidence, was more to say, if you take, for example, John Pandeni, how many schools are there? There's only one school. But then the other adjustment that we're proposing, you would find that there are a number of schools, but an honorable need to attend to these needs. But then you have got over, it's widens a lot of population. Then you would rather say, I think you can be better served by the adjacent constituency. But the issue, there must be discussion, because you will always find others say there's no need for us to be annexed, if you can use that word. Others said, let's remain as we are. It's a discussion that has been there. And then finally, as you know, in a democratic state, at the end of the day, because you will never be able to agree 100%, there will always, the majority will prevail.
Yes.
So that's where now, when comes the submission, and which we said that perhaps the engagement between the two was not sufficient.
Yeah.
Because you will find somebody, because in the hearing, someone will say, no, I'm not in favor. But others are in favor. So these are part of the discussions that is ongoing since now. It's still work in progress. So for myself, by answering your question, I would not really, from what was submitted, because political approach was not part of it, but human beings are political in nature. When we are talking about self-delivery, but as far as we are at the discussion and all the interaction, we did not see it from that angle.
Yes. Perhaps as we draw close to our conversation, Mr. Mafwila, you spoke about intergovernmental relations.
Yes.
There's always been this long argument about the relevance of councillors, constituency councillors, and even the regional council in an area like Khomas, which is predominantly Windhoek. So people, for example, are saying, we already have a city council, and our services mostly are derived from the city of Windhoek, our water, our electricity, our land issues. I mean, what is the role of your office and those offices of councillors in a setup like this?
Okay.
Is it relevant, or is it an old-fashioned model?
Thank you. It's very relevant. If you look on this, first I would say, if you talk about intergovernmental relationship, the issue of jurisdiction becomes key. Where do the city stop and where do we start, and all the overlap? You look now, we must see it from the context of decentralization. As when we have got these 14 regional councils. When we got independence, most of the functions were centralized. Now we must be able to understand what functions should be decentralized to the regional council, not only Khomas alone, but then all the regions. Then you start to see the functions or the services that the regional council will save apart from the municipal services. And our two laws are very clear. The city is responsible for municipal services. Then if now you ask now whether what services, maybe you're just polite enough to say, what services are you rendering?
Yes.
What are your offerings? You would find in this regard now, with the decentralization, the first one was now education. We have a director of education. When to come to all the schools that are in there, as much as one thing then where people sometimes mix up, is because Khomas is housing central government. You see the issue there. And then we have got the capital city. Then feels like then the ministries don't need to have directorate. With the concentration stage, they were already directorate for education, because definitely you cannot manage to say the school that are in Khomas will be managed by the ministry. The ministry is responsible for the whole the nation, and they're talking about policies, monitoring, and evaluation. So when it comes to education now, I can ask you now, when we have this crisis of placement, I think me and you, we still have kids that, no, not me, the kids that are still going to school.
Yes.
People will not go to the city of Windhoek. They will come to the councillor, as I've mentioned in here, for Samara Machel is an example. They have to come to the councillor to say that we have got kids that are not placed. Then we have to make sure that we have most classrooms, the teachers and all those, we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And also what the regional councils I mentioned to you now, from our own resources, we have built a number of schools, classrooms. There's a lot that we've done in that space. Then you talk also in terms of maintenance. We have delegated function of men. That was 2007 where we are responsible. We have a lot of responsibility to maintain all the infrastructure of government.
Yeah.
Our people that are under us. You have issue of lands. We have a division of lands, because when we have this settlement, we don't have a communal land for now, but by the way, we've already applied with the second conference that we need to create a communal land for a traditional authority.
I see the Minister of Agriculture yesterday announced in Parliament that has now been
that has been done. But all those efforts, jointly with the traditional authority, we made an effort to make sure that we present that position. But as it is now, Khomas have a number of resettled farms. You are talking about from the Salas and many others. We are managing them. Then the city will not be able to manage. And then you look in terms of water provision. I can show you, if it was another time, we must find that, and then I can come and talk about our self-delivery. Boreholes that we've been drilling in these localities. And then sanitation that we've been putting down annually. We are drilling more than, we are constructing more than 100 toilets in the rural. Boreholes now we have almost around 7 boreholes that we drilled. But that is now in the rural, not in the urban. But urban, we collaborate with the city of Windhoek. We have got an MOU to avoid the issue of overlap. We said we need to agree, and it was based on our strategic plan, because we had an integrated strategic plan. Since now we serve the same people, we have to have a common understanding, which we put it in writing, we signed it. Especially one example that I can give to you is the issue of housing. This is for low-cost housing. We have agreed with the ministry, the city of Windhoek, NHE, and then that's where we are delivering in terms of housing. But if there's any need which is now falling under municipality, then we are ready to come on board. But the issue of regional council is relevant. You need to have it. We have many agenda that they have also decentralized. There are issues that are happening that necessarily will not be handled by the city of Windhoek.
I hear you.
Yes, there are many, if that was the thinking, honestly speaking, we are not the first region to host a capital city. Even our neighbors. The other time we went to South Africa, if maybe us is 95% is urban based, but you go to others, you ask yourself about now, in Gauteng province, and the bigger metros there, but they still now regional or provincial government still relevant. Then it cannot be different from Namibia.
Absolutely.
Yes, we just have to understand our functions, and then really there will be a need in terms of regional government, and the Khomas is no exception.
Absolutely. Mr. Mafwila, thank you for coming to the platform.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes.
That's Clement Mafwila. He is Chief Regional Officer of our Khomas region, responding to claims that there were no proper consultations in terms of demarcations that are being mooted for the region. Thank you for watching.